The state of Mississippi is currently dealing with an epidemic of sexually transmitted infections. The STI rate of the red state is around 1,200 per 100,000 Mississippians, or one out of every 100 people that has a sexually transmitted infection. This is again in a red state where they have gotten sex education out of the schools. Now, the state, of course, has been long plagued by high rates of gonorrhea, chlamydia, and HIV. In fact, one county, Hinds County, once had the dishonor of having the highest STA rate of any county in the country. This is absolutely disastrous and a direct result of Republican governance. And it's only gotten worse, of course. The state is now dealing with an epidemic of something called congenital syphilis. Not good. According to a 2023 report from the CDC, Mississippi ranked third in the country for reported cases of primary and secondary syphilis. In that same report, the state also ranked fifth for gonorrhea and second for chlamydia. Absolutely disastrous. Absolutely. Now, when it comes to congenital syphilis, Mississippi, a state, has seen a 1,000% spike in the past few years, going from just 10 cases in 2016 to 110 in 2022. Deja Abdul-Haqq, the director of My Brother's Keeper, which is a local nonprofit that focuses on public health, said that they have begun seeing the massive spike in cases of syphilis after the COVID-19 pandemic, which, by the way, is not over. We're still dealing with COVID. It's just that nobody seems to want to admit that. Um, and I'm including Democratic politicians in that as well. You know, Joe Biden with his, oh, we're returning to normal. COVID is over. It certainly sure as hell ain't. Okay. But now, in addition to COVID, we got syphilis. Okay. And these other STIs. And then now there's measles and all sorts of fun things that are happening in the it's a cornucopia of viral infection in the United States. We are just one giant ass petri dish at this point. Okay. So now, for the reason for this particular spike of syphilis, Abdul-Haqq says this, quote, to break it down really simple, people are not using condoms. They're not using condoms. Why not? I mean, you would think that would be pretty basic, right? Well, there is a lack of sex ed that is driving this. Look, it's no surprise that the age range of those who are seeing an increase in syphilis infections is from 14 to 24 years old. Young people. Okay, young people. Now, Abdul-Haqq says that there's been a lack of information regarding condom use in preventing STIs, and that we can thank abstinence-only education for that. Because, of course. Look, in Mississippi schools, sex ed classes cannot include instruction or demonstrations on how to use a condom. Back in 2015, a teacher in Starkville had been suspended after a student in her class put one of those condoms on a cucumber. Which, I mean, that's a good enough demonstration, right? This same year, by the way, there was a teacher that went viral for sidestepping the condom rule by demonstrating how to put a sock on a foot. Apparently, that was too much for them as well. No wonder, 10 years later, you got a bunch of young people getting sexually transmitted infections because they don't know how to put on a condom. They were never shown. And this is a result of puritanical conservative education. That's it. And there's also, according to Abdul-Haqq, a lack of information pertaining to modern prevention tools, like PrEP, for example, which is a medication that can prevent HIV infections, and Doxypep, another medication that can prevent STIs such as syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. She said, quote, imagine if all the mothers that were exposed to syphilis during sex would have gotten Doxypep within 72 hours. Yeah, I know, and they wouldn't be sick. They wouldn't pass this on to their kids. There was another doctor that talked about this, Kayla Stover, who added that Mississippi sex education has absolutely failed the youth of the state. Demographically, according to recent data, black men in Mississippi have been hit by this more so than others. Black men, specifically with syphilis, now the second highest rate was found in black women. A 2019 MSDH report found that of the 690 cases of primary and secondary syphilis that year, 338 were in black men. So there's a serious issue here within the black community when it comes to prevention, or I should say the lack of prevention, the lack of education. And I think that's partly due to obviously the lack of education in the state, but also religious concerns, and perhaps even some of the outdated attitudes of masculinity that you do see in males, not just black males, obviously males of every demographic, but also in black males. Look, these are all issues, by the way, that could affect any group at any time and are affecting all different groups. It just happens to be hitting black men and women hardest. And that's unfortunately a trend that we see a lot. These issues that have a disproportionate impact on the black community. Okay. And in fact, Abdul-Haqq says, the information regarding the solution to these issues usually gets to the black communities rather late. So it's not so much the individual, it is the environment that does not promote access to all of these prevention methods. Exactly. And again, here's the thing. The black community, when it comes to red states, obviously they're not exactly a priority to the leaders of these red states, which again tend to be white Republicans. So, you can kind of blame them for that as well. I don't think they care at all about the black community. Their health and their health care is not a priority for these white Republicans. For them, it's Christian nationalism and white supremacy. And I'm going to go a little conspiratorial on you, right? It is important to note that untreated syphilis, yes, it can destroy your brain, but also lead to infertility. In fact, for the group that is seeing the largest rise in infections, people 14 to 24 years old, infertility is one of the main effects of this. Okay? And so, again, call me conspiratorial, right? But killing the birth rates for minorities while raising it for white people, that would be a goal for white nationalist Republicans, wouldn't it? I'm not saying that that's the case, but I'm not saying it ain't. We could be seeing the results of a decades-long racist eugenics program aimed at reducing the black birth rate and killing off the black community in these states like Mississippi, and while promoting birth rates for white couples as well as stopping abortion. So I'm just saying that all of these things may be related, or they might not, but I'm pretty sure they are. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you become a member on our YouTube page, you become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.